Welcome back, friends, and today I'm just making a real quick video about consecrating items and how to use a consecrated weapon for the astral plane. So, in original sword making, a magician would have no way of going to a store to buy such an item. You would have to fashion your own, but we live in a time where bulk metal is very cheap and plastic is very cheap, and machines that make it are even more affordable. So that's how you can get something for $30-$40 off the internet. I have no idea how much this costs. I think it was a little bit more, but it's a very solid, sturdy replica, but it's not actually sharp or anything. It's just literally a sword, a fake sword with real metal. So, oops, I'm in one of those moods today. So, what's the point of the sword if it's fake? You're probably thinking, well, what are you doing with the fake sword? If demons are real, then why aren't you using something real to stab them with? Because demons don't have that kind of body. And the bad ones, yeah, they get pretty physical, but it's not to that point. Not to the point where you have to worry about cleaning up demon blood in your temple. Let's be real, folks. We're talking about operating on a psychic level. So when you charge the weapons of war, essentially, is what they are. And the reason they're weapons of war is because when you put them on you, you want the spirits to greet you as a king or someone who is very powerful and who is dangerous. And in the Golden Dawn, McGregor Mothers would often wear his tiger skin for his ritual stuff. And it was to show that, the man slayed tigers. So you understand the metaphor behind why we have to have the weapons. It's because it's a respect thing. It's like we're calling upon very dangerous entities and we're presenting ourselves as God, and we're saying, look, I'm here on my own nobility and here is my sword. In other words, here is my word. Here is my truth. And a magic sword has to be all those things. But what makes it magical is when you consecrate. So if I have this thing in my closet and I never see it, and I don't think about it, and I don't want to look at it, it's nothing. It has no significance. It has no value because I don't care about it, if that were the case. But because it is such an important item that I leave on my altar, and it's almost always on or beside it, it has been charged with all that energy from all the years of all those invocations, all those rituals, all those spells, all those curses, all those horrible magical experiments. So this is a very powerful sword, although it may not seem like it. I want to really put an emphasis on just the fact that in order to make something powerful, you just have to love on it. You just have to love that object enough and see enough of yourself in it that it reflects back at you and you end up bonded to it. Then once you're bonded to it, and once you realize that the sword is kind of an extension of you, now you could start the meditation to charge it with whatever intention you have. So for example, the sword in my situation, when I used to do a lot of ritual work where you're standing in a circle and trying to defend yourself against hostile demons, the sword is designed so that you can reach outside the circle and stab at unruly spirits. But that's not what I use it for. So how did I consecrate my sword? By meditating on it, by using a small amount of sexual fluid and a small amount of blood. You do not have to drench the sword in blood. You just have to visualize long enough and hard enough whatever quality it is you want it to have and believe it. And once you realize that your wish is true and the sword feels like it is that object you want it to be, in my case, it would be to basically, if you close your eyes and see this sword on the astral plane, it would be in a shroud of fire. So the entire blade is kind of a flickering green or blue radiant fire, which is designed to pierce through and actually destroy and kill said entity. It's designed to kill with one pierce. That's what I envisioned it to be. And the reason I'm suspicious that it's true is because now this sword feels so much heavier than it did before I consecrated it. Spirits love this sword. They're all around me right now. It's so sentimental. There's so many things that you would never imagine in your life that you would experience, and it's an internal process, but it changed me because, my God, if you've ever stood before an angel or a demon, you would understand. You would understand 100% why magic is so transformative. Because you start to realize that magic is about doing something that's bigger than you, and not necessarily about just you, but at the same time, not being a religious zealot or someone who feels they need to sacrifice themselves for said cause. Because that is a Christian concept in itself. The very idea that because you're called upon to serve some stranger, that you now are going to be forced to risk your life. But in times of past, that's the way that it worked. So people forget, before the gun, there was the sword. But the sword will always be, because of what it represents. You can imagine how many people have been killed with a sword. And one of Crowley's more important books on magic, he did say that one of the more powerful swords you can acquire is just a sword from a soldier. A soldier probably who carried something like a saber on their side. Someone who actually used it in real war, in real battle, and really killed people with it. Because now it is charged with the energy of war and death. So if you have an old heirloom, like a dagger or a sword, and you're lucky enough to actually have something from a time period from a war, just know that the lives that have been slayed by it have residued into that object. If you have a war rifle from 40 whatever, 1940 whatever, I guarantee you the people who were killed with that rifle, in some way, shape, or form, their energy is still attached to that traumatic piece of machinery. And sadly, that is what makes a sword powerful, is the more trauma it causes. So that's the truth about swords, friends. If you use swords in magic like I do, I use it in a very subtle way. And I don't often ever really pull it out to do much with it, except for on those rare occasions when I'm doing that particular rare ritual. But I just wanted to do a little sword appreciation and a little consecration understanding. Sleep with your sword, bathe with your sword, make it a point to carry your sword everywhere you go, and have fun going into the grocery store and not getting arrested. See, there's something to be said about following through with something, even when it's inconvenient. And what is that going to do? That's going to charge the sword with the energy of endurance and power, because you went through something with this sword. Go hiking and force yourself to have this sword in one hand the entire time uphill. And do not drop it. If you drop it, you got to go to the bottom of the hill, pick the sword back up, and do it all over again. Trust me, at the end of the day, if you do that exercise a couple times, that sword will be just as important to you as anything. I hope that this was insightful and fun and practical. And I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who has been subscribing. And for those of you who have been emailing and asking questions and getting a little side work now, I really appreciate it, because the whole point of mastering magic is to master ourselves so that maybe we can help others as well. So thank you, friends, and keep that demonic shit going. Keep it coming. Keep it real. Don't apologize. Do your fucking magic. Have fun with it. Dark blessings.